The sound of Anya's key in the lock at 11:47 p.m. should have been comforting. Instead, it made my stomach clench like I'd swallowed broken glass. She'd been gone 3 days on what she called a girls' wellness retreat with her fitness instructor friends. Funny thing about wellness retreats, they don't usually require you to pack your sexiest lingerie. I sat in our kitchen, nursing cold coffee and scrolling through her Instagram posts. There she was, beaming in a group selfie with 5 other women at some spa. Except the lighting was all wrong, and her shadow fell in the opposite direction from everyone else's. Either the laws of physics had taken a vacation, or my wife had gotten creative with Photoshop. "Hey, babe!" Anya's voice carried that forced cheerfulness she used when she was hiding something. Like when she'd maxed out our credit card on a new sound system for her gym classes, or when she'd forgotten to mention her ex-boyfriend Mike Barrett was back in town after his divorce. She appeared in the doorway, designer gym bag slung over her shoulder, looking like she'd stepped out of a magazine. Even after 3 days away, her makeup was perfect, her blonde hair styled just right. For someone who'd supposedly been hiking and doing yoga, she looked remarkably put together. "How was the retreat?" I asked, not looking up from my phone. "Amazing. So refreshing. The other girls send their love." She dropped her bag and moved to the fridge, keeping her back to me. "I'm exhausted, though. Think I'll just shower and crash." That's when I decided to test my theory. "That's great, honey. Hope you and Mike enjoyed the views." The silence that followed was deafening. Anya froze with the refrigerator door half open, her entire body going rigid. The carton of orange juice in her hand started to tremble. What did you say?" Her voice came out as barely a whisper. I set down my coffee and really looked at her, the woman I'd married 5 years ago, who used to laugh at my terrible jokes and steal bites of my breakfast. Now, she couldn't even turn around to face me. "I said I hope you and Mike enjoyed the views. You know, Mike Barrett? Your ex-boyfriend who's been texting you for the past month?" She spun around then, her face pale except for 2 bright red spots on her cheeks. "Nick, I don't know what you're talking about. I was with the girls. I showed you the pictures." "The photoshopped pictures?" I pulled up her Instagram and turned the screen toward her. Kayla wasn't even there. I called her mom's house yesterday. She's been helping her mom recover from surgery all weekend. Anya's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. The orange juice carton slipped from her fingers and hit the floor with a wet splat, sending juice across our kitchen tiles. "You called Kayla's mom?" The guilt was written all over her face now. "Why would you? I mean, that's so weird, Nick. Why are you checking up on me?" "Because my wife has been acting strange for weeks. Because she's been secretive about her phone, working late every night, and packing lingerie for a supposed girls' trip." I stood up, feeling calmer than I had in days. The uncertainty was over. Now I knew. "It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think." I walked to the laundry room and pulled out the hotel receipt I'd found in her jeans pocket. The Lakeside Grand Resort, presidential suite, 2 guests, 3 nights, and there at the bottom, clear as day, Barrett M. Her face crumpled when she saw it. "Oh God, Nick, please, let me explain." "Explain what? How you've been screwing your ex-boyfriend while lying to my face? How you've been planning this for weeks?" The anger was building now, hot and sharp in my chest. "How many times, Anya? How long has this been going on?" She started crying then, those pretty tears that used to make me want to protect her from the world. Now they just made me sick. "It just happened. We ran into each other at the coffee shop, and we started talking, and it was just like old times. But it doesn't mean anything, I swear." "Doesn't mean anything?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You spent 3 days in a luxury hotel suite with him. You lied to me, to our friends, to everyone. You packed the underwear I bought you for our anniversary to wear for another man. Please, Nick, I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. But I love you. I want to work this out." I looked at her standing there in our kitchen, surrounded by spilled orange juice, mascara running down her cheeks. 5 years of marriage, and it had come to this. The only mistake you made was getting caught. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Over the next few days, I learned just how deep the betrayal went. Pete, my coworker and closest friend, helped me piece together the timeline. Anya had been meeting Mike for coffee for weeks, then lunch. Then she started staying late at the gym for private training sessions that didn't exist. Mike Barrett, the golden boy of our small Maine town, with his real estate empire built on daddy's money and his collection of luxury cars with vanity plates. He'd dated Anya in high school, thought he was too good for our town, left for Boston to make his fortune. Now he was back, divorced, and apparently bored enough to pursue married women. "You should see his house," Pete said as we sat in Murphy's bar, the local dive where everyone eventually ended up to either celebrate or commiserate. Guy's got a hot tub the size of a swimming pool and one of those outdoor kitchens that cost more than my car. "Good for him," I muttered into my beer. "What are you gonna do?" That was the question, wasn't it? Anya was staying at her sister's place, calling me every few hours to beg for another chance. Her friends were taking sides. Some blamed me for being emotionally unavailable. Others whispered that they'd seen the signs but hadn't wanted to get involved. The worst part was how public it all became. Small towns are like that. Secrets spread faster than wildfire. By the end of the week, everyone knew. The checkout girl at the grocery store gave me pitying looks. My boss asked if I needed time off. Even the mailman started avoiding eye contact. Mike, meanwhile, seemed to be enjoying the attention. I saw him at the hardware store chatting up the cashier like he was some kind of celebrity. He had the audacity to nod at me when our eyes met, like we were old friends sharing a joke. That's when I decided enough was enough. The plan came to me on a Friday night as I sat in my workshop, surrounded by the tools of my trade. As a project manager for high-end home construction, I knew things about houses that most people didn't. I knew about plumbing and electrical systems, about foundations and structural integrity. I also knew about Mike's current project, a custom lakehouse he was building for himself on the most expensive lot in town. The same lakehouse where he'd probably planned to bring my wife once their affair became public. Pete was hesitant when I outlined my idea. "Man, I don't know. What if we get caught?" "We won't get caught if we're smart about it. And technically, we're not breaking any laws, just rearranging some things." Saturday night, we drove to Mike's construction site. The house was about 60% complete, walls up, roof on, but no windows or doors yet. Perfect for what I had in mind. We worked quietly, using my legitimate access codes to disable the security system. Mike had hired my company for the electrical work, which meant I had every right to be there. What I did once I was there, well, that was between me and my conscience. First, we rerouted the hot water line to the master bedroom, so it would spray directly onto the bed area when turned on. Then, we adjusted the main electrical panel so that every light switch in the house would trigger the garbage disposal in the kitchen. Finally, we installed a small speaker system in the walls. Nothing fancy, just enough to play a continuous loop of Anya's voicemails begging me for forgiveness. "This is either genius or completely insane," Pete whispered as we packed up our tools. "Why can't it be both?" The next morning, I called Mike directly. He answered on the second ring, his voice smooth and confident. "Nick, good to hear from you, buddy. How are you holding up?" "Just wanted to thank you, Mike." A pause. "Thank me?" "For showing me who my wife really is, and who my friends really are. It's been educational." "Look, Nick, I know this is awkward, but Anya and we have history. What we have is real." "I'm sure it is. Hey, you should check out your new house. I think you'll find it's exactly what you deserve." I hung up before he could respond. The call came 3 hours later. Mike's voice was no longer smooth and confident. It was high-pitched and furious. "What the hell did you do to my house? I have no idea what you're talking about. Is there a problem with the electrical work? Because that would be covered under warranty. You know damn well what you did. The whole place is flooded. There are sparks shooting out of the walls, and there's some kind of audio system playing your psycho messages on repeat." "That sounds terrible. You should probably call a professional." "I am calling a professional. I'm calling the police." "Good luck with that. I was at Murphy's bar last night until closing. 40 people saw me there. Check the security cameras." The line went quiet except for his heavy breathing. "This isn't over," he finally said. "You're right. It's not." The confrontation I'd been expecting came the following Tuesday. I was having lunch at Murphy's when Mike walked in, followed by Anya and, surprisingly, 3 of our former couple friends, Tom and Jennifer, and Sarah and her husband Dave. The bar went quiet as they approached my table. Even the jukebox seemed to sense the tension and cut out mid-song. "We need to talk," Tom said. He'd been my friend since college, best man at my wedding. Now he looked at me like I was a stranger. "Sure, pull up a chair." "Not here," Jennifer said, glancing around nervously. "This is getting out of hand, Nick. The whole town is talking." "Let them talk. I'm not the one who broke my marriage vows." "You're not the one who's been sabotaging people's property either," Mike said, sliding into the booth across from me. "That little stunt at my house is going to cost me 50 grand in repairs." "Prove it." Anya sat down next to Mike, and the sight of them together hit me like a physical blow. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before, expensive looking. Her engagement ring was gone. "Nick, please," she said. "We're all adults here. Can't we handle this like civilized people?" "Civilized?" I laughed. "You want to talk about civilized? How civilized was it to lie to me for months? How civilized was it to use our friends as alibis for your affair?" "That's not fair," Sarah interjected. "We didn't know what was happening. We were just trying to be supportive." "Supportive of what? Her cheating on me?" "Supportive of both of you," Dave said. "Marriages go through rough patches. We thought maybe some space would help you both figure things out." "Space?" The anger was building again, that familiar heat in my chest. "Is that what we're calling it? Space?" Tom leaned forward. "Look, man, I get that you're hurt. But what you did to Mike's house crossed a line, and now you're dragging everyone else into your drama." "My drama?" I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. "My drama is that my wife has been screwing her ex-boyfriend, and you all knew about it." The entire bar was staring now, but I didn't care. 5 years of friendship, 5 years of double dates and birthday parties and holiday gatherings, and they were taking her side. "We didn't know," Jennifer said quietly. "We suspected something was wrong, but you didn't ask. You didn't warn me. You just watched it happen." "What were we supposed to do?" Sarah demanded. "It wasn't our business." "It became your business the moment you agreed to cover for her lies." Mike stood up too, his face red with anger. "Enough! This is exactly why Anya came to me in the first place. You're controlling, paranoid, and frankly a little scary. Look at yourself, Nick. Look what you've become." The bar was dead silent now. Even the bartender had stopped washing glasses to listen. I looked around the table at these people I'd considered family. Tom, who'd helped me move into my first apartment. Jennifer, who'd brought me soup when I had the flu. Sarah and Dave, who'd been our neighbors for 3 years. And then I looked at my wife, sitting next to her lover, both of them staring at me like I was the villain in this story. "You want to know what I've become?" I said quietly. "I've become a man who knows the difference between friends and enemies." I walked to the bar and asked Murphy, the owner, if I could borrow his microphone. He'd been watching the whole thing with the fascination of someone witnessing a car crash, and he handed it over without question. The feedback squealed as I turned it on, and everyone in the bar winced. "Ladies and gentlemen, I said, my voice echoing through the speakers. "I'd like to make an announcement." Anya's face went white. "Nick, don't—" "My wife, Anya Harlan, has been having an affair with Mike Barrett for the past 2 months. They've been using our friends as alibis, lying to everyone in this room, and making me look like a fool." The murmur that went through the crowd was electric. This was small-town gold, the kind of gossip that would fuel conversations for months. "But that's not the best part," I continued. "The best part is that these people—" I gestured to the table where my former friends sat frozen. "Knew about it. They all knew, and they chose to protect the cheaters instead of their friend." Tom started to stand up, but I held up a hand. "I'm not done. Mike here thinks he's hot stuff because he's got money and a fancy car. But let me tell you something about Mike Barrett. His real estate empire, built on Daddy's trust fund, his divorce, his ex-wife caught him cheating with his secretary, and that lakehouse he's building? Well, let's just say he might want to get a second opinion on the construction work." Mike's face was purple now. "You son of a—" "Careful, Mike. We're in public." I handed the microphone back to Murphy and walked toward the exit. But I wasn't done yet. At the door, I turned back one last time. "Oh, and Anya? You left your wedding ring on the bathroom counter. I flushed it down the toilet where it belongs." The sound that came from her was somewhere between a gasp and a scream. "Enjoy your new life together. You deserve each other." I walked out into the afternoon sunshine, leaving behind the wreckage of my old life and feeling lighter than I had in months. 3 weeks later, Mike's lakehouse project was shut down by the building inspector after someone reported irregularities in the electrical and plumbing work. The repairs and delays cost him his construction loan, and he was forced to sell the property at a loss. Anya moved in with him temporarily, but their relationship didn't survive the stress. She called me once, crying, asking if we could try counseling. I hung up. Tom, Jennifer, Sarah, and Dave all tried to reach out eventually, claiming they'd been caught in the middle and just wanted everyone to be happy. I deleted their numbers. 6 months after that night at Murphy's, I ran into Pete at the hardware store. He grinned when he saw me. "How's the new place?" he asked. I'd bought a small house on the other side of town, something that was entirely mine. "Perfect. No shared history, no bad memories. And no hot tub filled with cement? That was your idea." "Best idea I ever had." We both laughed. Some friendships survive betrayal, others don't. The trick is knowing which ones are worth saving. As for Mike and Anya, I heard through the town grapevine that she'd moved to Portland and was working at a chain gym. Mike had started dating a woman from the next town over, someone who didn't know his history. Good for them. Everyone deserves a fresh start, even me.